Please help me to reach 500 subscribers. Subscribe to my channel for more heartfelt stories like this. We laughed until our sides ached, tears forming at the corners of our eyes, and for a fleeting moment the world felt weightless. The kind of evening where wine warms the soul, music floats in the background, and life's burdens seem to vanish. Ethan sat across from me, sleeves rolled up, forearms resting casually on the table, his gaze steady and attentive in a way that made you feel genuinely understood. For months, there had been this unspoken tension between us, a friendship bright with sparks that neither of us could ignore. Long looks lingered too long, and gestures felt charged with something unnamed. I told myself it was harmless. He had someone, I had my own history. We both knew boundaries existed, but that night, neither of us seemed intent on observing them. It began innocently with teasing. He poked fun at my taste in movies, I ridiculed his obsession with baseball statistics. We traded jabs between sips of wine, laughter flowing effortlessly, until one of my remarks faltered. I don't even remember why I said it. Maybe the laughter had worn me down, or maybe I was nervous in the sudden quiet. Half joking, half serious, I said, "Your girlfriend must have the patience of a saint to put up with you." The words hung in the air. Ethan's smile lingered for a heartbeat, then faltered, like glass cracking silently. The warmth in his eyes dimmed. He gripped his wine glass a little tighter, fingers taut. "Yeah," he said softly. "She used to." The atmosphere shifted. What had been light and playful turned dense and heavy. "She doesn't really put up with me anymore," he murmured, gaze fixed somewhere beyond the restaurant window. "We just exist." I didn't know how to respond. The ease between us vanished, replaced by silence so thick it was almost suffocating. I wanted to fix it, to bring back the laughter, but the moment had passed. Ethan tried to smile again, but it didn't reach his eyes, a fragile mask hiding something broken. "You didn't know," he whispered. "It's okay." But it wasn't okay. Not for him, not for me. We finished our drinks slowly. The laughter never returned. In the quiet, I noticed little things I hadn't before. The subtle tremor in his hand, the uneven rhythm of his breathing. "Ethan," I said softly, "I didn't mean." "You don't have to explain," he interrupted gently. "Sometimes the truth comes out in ways you don't expect." He tried to smile and it faltered again. I longed to make it better, but this wasn't a wound that could be touched without bleeding myself. When the restaurant finally emptied, we walked out together. The city felt unusually still, as though it had softened just for us. Under a streetlight, he slid his hands into his coat pockets. "Ever laugh so hard you forget why you were sad?" he asked. I nodded, speechless. He gave a weary, quiet laugh. "Yeah, that was nice. While it lasted." Then he walked away. The cold bit through my jacket as I stood frozen, stunned by how something so light could leave such a heavy mark. That night, I replayed every detail, the crack in his smile, the pause before he spoke, the weight that replaced our laughter. I hadn't just misspoken, I had brushed against a truth he'd been hiding, maybe even from himself. And the worst part? I'd been flirting with it knowingly all along. The next morning, his silence was louder than words could ever be. No text, no call, nothing. I tried to convince myself it was insignificant, just a one-off evening, harmless and fleeting. But scrolling through our past messages, memes, jokes, late-night talks that had grown intimate, the emptiness hit harder. I missed him. Not romantically, exactly, but deeply. The comfort, the closeness disguised as friendship. Dangerous, undeniable closeness. 3 days later, a single message appeared, "Can we talk?" No punctuation. No emojis. Just that. I hesitated, typed and deleted my reply twice before finally sending, "Sure." We met in a park halfway between our apartments. He looked different, tired, thoughtful, weighed down by something. Gone were the teasing smiles, the playful banter. Two people stood there, silently confronting what neither had intended to begin. "I've been thinking about that night," he admitted, eyes fixed on the rippling water. I swallowed hard, heart tightening. Before I could respond, he continued softly, "It's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. You just reminded me of something I wasn't ready to face." He sat on the bench, elbows on knees, head lowered. I joined him, feeling the cold would press through my jeans. "For months I've been pretending everything is fine," he confessed. "We barely talk, barely connect. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, but that night, you said out loud what I couldn't admit even to myself." Guilt twisted in me. I hadn't intended to cross any line. But Ethan's smile was faint, knowing. "You didn't?" "I did. Long before that night." Silence stretched between us, but it didn't hurt this time. It was necessary. We needed to sit in it, let the truth settle. You ever meet someone at the wrong time? He asked. All I could do was nod. That's how it feels, he whispered. What we had, maybe it wasn't love and maybe it never would be. But it was real. It made the rest of the world disappear for a while. Finally he stood. I braced for him to leave, but instead he spoke quietly. I need to fix things with her, or end them. I can't keep floating like this. I wanted to tell him maybe he didn't need to repair what was already broken. But sometimes loving someone, even silently, is letting them face their storm alone. He nodded once and walked away. That evening I returned home alone, his words echoing in my mind. You ever meet someone at the wrong time? Weeks passed without messages, without accidental encounters. Yet sometimes in that same restaurant I could still hear the faint echo of our laughter, a ghost of a night that began with jokes and ended in truth. His smile had faded, but something deeper remained. Honesty. Perhaps that is what real connection looks like. Not fireworks, not promises, but seeing each other clearly even when it hurts. Sometimes, the moment you stop pretending is the moment everything shifts, even if it means letting go of someone who made you feel alive, if only for a fleeting, painful moment. That night wasn't about love. It was about recognizing truth. And the first time someone finally speaks it out loud, everything changes. Please help me to reach 500 subscribers.